So here's a bonus. This is something that I've added later on about CAT tools because I do talk about CAT tools, but CAT tools are definitely the subject that I get the most questions on, whether they be in the discussion boards or in private or anything along those lines, because you come across them so often that a lot of people ask me about them and a lot of people say, hey, tell us more about them or they are useful. And the fact is we all have to live in this world, and we have to deal with clients who always ask about CAT tools and want to know if we have them or if we use them and stuff like that. I should reiterate, my feelings about CAT tools have not changed, but I wanted to go through them a bit more in detail. First of all, let's start off with a cost update. Because the costs have changed a bit since I originally talked about CAT tools. So let's check it out quickly. Okay, so once again, the STL Trados is by far the most popular type of CAT tool that there is out there. And this is their website. And so you can see the prices right off the bat. And the STL Trados Studio is $2,895. So actually, I think the price has gone up since I talked about it last. And they'll probably keep going up every year. This is the one for freelance. So this is geared toward freelancers, supposedly. And it's $845. Freelance Plus is even more. Now, here's what's interesting, however. They do have a stripped down version, a basic scaled down version of the freelance edition for an occasional translator that is valid for 1 year. This is $129. So this seems, especially when you compare it to here, it seems a lot more doable. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to find much more information about it anywhere. And as far as I can tell, a basic stripped down version of STL Trados is basically Omega T, which is already free. And I imagine that that's exactly what you get. Once again, I should reiterate, for all their products, they say they have this. If you're using an Apple Mac, please consult their support pages or live chat. This is because, and as I've mentioned before, and it's been confirmed to me by several people, if you have a Mac, it just doesn't work. Trados just doesn't work. It's supposed to work in certain cases or this, that, and the other, but it doesn't really. And I was at the last CATI meeting. This is the Carolina Association of Translators and Interpreters, and one of the sessions there was specifically on CAT tools, and we were talking about it. And, that's basically what people were saying. They're saying, no, it doesn't work. And, what happens is, it might work for basic stuff, but then you can't get any of the add-ons, or every now and then there are glitches or it stops or anything like that. If you have a Mac, it really, unfortunately, just doesn't work. And this isn't only with Trados, it's pretty much with all of them. But regardless, let's go through it quickly. The next big one, once again, is MemoQ. Now, MemoQ is another type of CAT tool that you'll probably come across. So let's go here. They have the project manager and stuff like that, which we're not really interested right now. Let's click on the Translator Pro. That's their CAT tool, computer assisted translation. If this ever loads, then I can show you what the price is. Now here. And the way it works is like all these things, you have to scroll through all the information. Went too far. There we go. The price is 620 euros and $770. I think that was pretty much what it was. Actually, I know, I think it's increased a bit. But anyway, once again, we're talking prices like this for MemoQ. What they do have here is you have a 30-day trial if you wish to try it and see if it works for you for 30 days. This could be an option if you have one job that requires MemoQ, and so you get this and use it for the job and then get rid of it or decide if you want to get rid of it. But with MemoQ, as with Trados and all those, there is a learning curve, and you kind of have to learn how to use it before actually being able to use it effectively. So once again, it's a judgment call, so you'll have to see. Regardless, here's the next one, WordFast. Now, WordFast Classic. So let's click on Buy Now so you can see what the price is. That's the normal WordFast. Let's go back. I think I have here. Yeah, because WordFast Anywhere is free. This is a free one, so by all means, feel free to try WordFast Anywhere and see how it goes. This is another one that unfortunately I was told while I was at the CATI meeting, the Carolina Association of Translators and Interpreters, and one of the other translators was talking about WordFast, and she said that she had issues on her Mac. Now, I don't know, because this is supposed to be web browser based, so it should, in theory, I think, be okay. But regardless, it's free, so please feel free to check it out. If you do get WordFast Classic, and once again, here are the prices. Close that. WordPress Classic 460, WordPress Pro 460, or you can get both for 560, which looks like a good deal, but it's still $560. And so I just wanted to reiterate, these are the prices that we're dealing with. So be careful and just know about it when you are buying them, that you have to deal with these prices. Now, the other thing I mentioned is that although CAT tools can make your life easier, the clients do ask for discounts based on how easier they make your life, right? And so what CAT tools can do is they find out if there are any matches, if you've translated similar terms in the past, and they make it a lot easier for you, but then the client kind of takes away that ease by asking for discounts. So let me show you some examples briefly to show you what happens and how it goes. These are all taken, by the way, from real clients or potential clients, people I've been in contact with who are real agencies. And so I haven't invented any of these numbers or anything. This is how they come across. So you'll see this is a trade-offs model. And what this means is if you have, so no matches are basically a translation from scratch. This is how you would work without a CAT tool. And you get paid 100% for that. Good. Then what you have here is fuzzy matches. And so fuzzy means that a lot of it is similar, but there are a couple things that are different. And so 84 to 75 is basically the percentage. And so if you have, and you know, they always write it so weird. Anyway, 75 to 84 will be a better way to do it. You get paid 60%. If it's 85 to 94%, you know, match, the fuzzy match, then you get paid 50%. 95 to 99, 40%, 100%. Matches, then you get paid 20%. Now, if it's repetitions, you get paid 10%. Between 100% matches and repetitions, I'm not sure what the difference is. It could be just the sentence is the same as a repetition, or it just has the same terms. And honestly, this isn't. The client doesn't know. This is all based on the program itself. The program calculates this stuff automatically, so who knows? Certain things are repetitions, certain things are 100% matches. One, you get paid 20% of the price, another you get paid 10%. So once again, this means if you charge, say, I don't know, 10 cents a word, to make it easy, you'll get paid 10 cents a word for no matches. Here you'll get paid 6 cents a word, here 5 cents a word, 4 cents a word, 2 cents a word, and 1 cent a word. So once again, your life is easier because a CAT tool will notice the matches and the repetitions, but that advantage that you have is sort of taken away when you only get paid 1 cent a word for the repetition. And and by the way, when you use a CAT tool, you still have to look over it and make sure the CAT tool didn't make any mistake and stuff like that, because you never know with certain, depending on what type of stuff you're translating. Now here, let's go through another example quickly, and here you can see how it works. Repetitions, 100% matches, so these are at least are both 20%, and then 20, but this is still 20%, 99 to 95, and then and here you get at least 50 to 74 is still 100%. I think that was the case up here too, because it only starts at 75. So and then it goes to 40%, 20%, 20%, etc. And so this is how much you get paid depending on how much it matches. And here I wanted to show you an example of the analysis once it's been broken down. And this is, so just concentrate on two things here. Concentrate on words and percent, right? And then obviously on these things. So new would be, once again, as if you don't have a CAT tool, this is how you would translate. So you have 26,000 words that are new. And this is the percentage of the total. And in fact, you could probably ignore percent, but it just makes it easier. 32%, around 33% of the total is new stuff, and there you get paid the full price. And then you have the all these other things. So let's look at the 100%. You have 3,600 words, and that's 4.59%. You're like, okay, well then, not much of it is something that, I get paid a huge discount, maybe only 10 or 20% of my real price for this, but it's a small percentage of the total that is like this. But look here, pretty much 50% of the total is cross-file repetition. So what does this mean? This means that there's some other file that is very similar to this one, and about half of it is exactly the same as this one. So for this whole file, 50% of it, you're going to get paid at the repetition rate, which is, once again, is 10% or whatever it might be, 10, 20%. So here you have repetitions within this file are only 4%, but cross-file repetitions, repetition with some other file that is exactly similar to this one, that's close to 50%. So they're going to give you a huge file, and you're only going to get paid, for basically the full amount. You're only going to get paid 32%. And then all of these, you have negligible amounts for these. And then once it gets to like closer to 100% matches, then it gets higher. And, but these you only get paid what, 10, 20% of your real rate. So anyway, it's such a complicated calculation, and the problem is the agencies have all these resources at their disposal to make things cheaper for them. And we as translators, we're the freelancers, so we're kind of dragged into this game of theirs, and we have to figure it out and see if it's worth it or not. And so these are calculations that you probably should be making before you make such an investment and invest in a CAT tool. And look, once you start making money, and if you want to reinvest the profits you've made into CAT tools, absolutely do it. And you can obviously buy a CAT tool if you want to. But I do want you to keep these things in mind before you commit to a CAT tool. I also want to reiterate, in my opinion, this should pretty much be criminal. I cannot think of another industry where this would happen. Once again, if you're a web designer and you use similar templates for different clients, and I could not approach a web designer and say, okay, if your standard price is $1,000, I'm only going to pay 20% of that because you're using the same template that you're probably using for other people. You probably use WordPress, and so the template is similar, and so I'm only going to pay you a percentage. You can't do that. I certainly cannot approach a lawyer and say, hey, I know you have templates for all your contracts, so I'm not paying you the full amount. And you can't go to a restaurant and say, okay, I'm only going to pay 20% of the price of this dish because I know you have a recipe and you use the same recipe for every time you cook this dish. You can't do that. And it just seems so strange that this is so accepted in the translation world. And I think a big reason for this is that, unfortunately, as freelancers, we are, many freelancers are coming up and kind of don't know what the deal is, and so they accept whatever the agency gives them, and so it is accepted. So I should reiterate, look, I'm not saying that you will not need CAT tools. You might need CAT tools, and the more specialized you are, the more useful CAT tools will be, and I do think it is a judgment call, but I do think you should be careful about this judgment, and you should make the judgment. If a CAT tool costs you 800 euros, and a client says, oh, we will pay you 1,000 euros, if you have this CAT tool, then you'll say, okay, then I'll be making 200 euros profit. And so that's great, and so it could be worth it. And you can take into account opportunity costs and say, well, the time and effort that it takes me to work on this, maybe I could be working on other stuff that earns me more than 200 euro, or maybe not. But once again, if you're guaranteed a job and you're guaranteed to make the money back, then absolutely get the CAT tool. And or even if you're guaranteed a job, but you're really pretty sure that you'll get future jobs because you have a CAT tool and you think it'll be worth it over the long run, then absolutely get it, because it could be worth it. But I really want you to keep in mind how it works, because I see too many people jump into the idea that they can get CAT tools and spend a lot of money on something that just collects dust and that they never learn how to use, because once again, there is a steep learning curve that you have to go through, and the CAT tools also change and get updated frequently, so you have to kind of keep up with them as they go along. Now, having said all this, I do want to reiterate once again that if you are still interested, you should check out things like Omega T. I mentioned WordFast Anywhere before, and previously I also mentioned Omega T. And so once again, if you want to get Omega T, you basically just go to omegat.org and you click download, and that's it. And I've used Omega T, and I have a Mac, and it's worked fine for me. I don't do anything that's too fancy, but it does help. It does remember things that have already been translated, and it keeps the format just as well, because this is another point that a lot of people say, that that it keeps the format, and they like having the format kept the same way that it is in the original, and Omega T does that just as well. My recommendation is almost always, when people ask me about these, if they are still interested in CAT tools, to try. I usually recommend Omega T, because it's more similar to Trados, and that way if they do want to go to Trados later on, they have a bit more familiarity. But otherwise, do try WordFast Anywhere. Feel free to try that out and see how it works for you. and yeah, get familiar with it and try to see if it's something that you want to use and you wish to use. I would definitely recommend trying one of those before paying for it. And sorry if it seems like I'm repeating myself, but this is a question that I get a lot. And so I kind of wanted to go through it in a bit more detail and with a bit more of a fine-tooth comb, because I wanted to make sure that you know what's happening and what you're getting into if you do get a CAT tool.